Calaroga Shark Media.
Hey, I'm Johnny Mac with your daily comedy news. Just again, I'm stunned at how much there is this week. Normally, this is a really quiet week. We'll do the Emmys in the second half of the show. The Emmy nominations are out, but let's start with the fighting stuff because that's what I like. Tony Hinchcliffe was a guest on the Joe Rogan Experience. The conversation turned to the roast of Kevin Hart. Edits here for both language and pacing.
What's it been like the weirdness, the post-roast weirdness?
I'm always surprised by these things. I'm always surprised that they last so long, that anybody's talking about it. It's so bizarre. I was surprised with the Pang Dang thing. I was surprised at the Trump thing. And this one is really surprising because with other ones, they're like, there's a time and a place for jokes like that or this or that or whatever. And this is the time and the place for it, is like the roast of Kevin Hart. You know, I'm going to go for it.
Yeah.
And we roasted Kevin. You know, I did a George Floyd joke in the, at the Tom Brady roast. And then this one, people are offended or something. I don't know. And yeah, if you just watch that clip on my dismount, it's a crazy clip. But if you watch the entire flow of the roast set, it's just one last departing joke, which... that's my thing, man. It's like I knew Earthquake would be standing up on his feet like he was halfway through my set. You know, there's standing O's that are happening during my actual roast. And on this one, because there were so many people on it and it was such a long, big roast, you know, they set you to an allotted time. So I'm like, okay, I'm going to do something I don't normally do and blast off more jokes per minute than I normally do. Instead of milking it and getting applause breaks and things like that, I'm just going to create a bang, 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 bang final stand of things. And you know what's funny is that I have something that's supposed to offend everybody. Like, I don't want you to like 100% of any of my jokes. I'm not that guy. I'm heelish. I'm a bad guy.
You're
wrestling
a pro wrestling
fan.
heel.
Exactly. Yeah. So what's funny is people got offended about the George Floyd thing, and a lot of people said, yeah, well, Pete Davidson did a Charlie Kirk joke. And they're comparing these things from two different spectrums. But what they didn't mention is that I did a Charlie Kirk joke in my set. You know what I mean?
Everybody gets them.
Everybody gets it is always my whole
Everybody gets them
point.
jokes.
Everybody does. Yeah. I said that Kevin has quite the fan base. He has more gunfire at his merch table than Charlie Kirk.
Yeah.
Or whatever. And so, you know, for people to nitpick that joke and be offended. And it's funny because it was a lot of comedians, a lot of black comedians were like, I'm upset about this. You know, they made their videos, which is just hilarious because they're not on the roast. They're not in attendance at the roast.
You saw Tiffany Haddish.
That was the best one. Nobody handled it better than her.
Meanwhile, there was another kerfluffle involving MAGA comedian Nate Bargatze last weekend. It was July 4th, Saturday, July 4th, and normally on Saturday, they would air a rerun of Saturday Night Live, but no, it was July 4th, so they didn't. However, on SNL's Instagram, they posted a sketch called Washington's Dream, which of course stars MAGA comedian Nate Bargatze. If you don't know why he's a MAGA comedian, because one time he went to a UFC fight at the White House. The Daily Beast tells us the traditionally progressive fans of SNL lashed out when his sketch was posted on Saturday. One social media user said, "Really? Not the time, NBC SNL?" Another told the program to read the room. Yeah, how absurd that you would post a George Washington sketch on July 4th. That's crazy. Meanwhile, the Daily Beast caught up with W. Kamau Bell, who recently posted a Substack about MAGA comedian Nate Bargatze. Bell told the Beast, throughout the history of the White House, going to the White House is a political decision, but now it's not only a political decision, but it is a caustic and toxic decision based on what this administration is doing, like holding a UFC fight. And maybe you wanted to see some fights. I thought it'd be kind of cool to see one on the White House lawn, and maybe you'd run into Shane Gillis in the back. Who knows? Kamau admitted that he used to be a huge UFC fan, so I relate in the sense that this is a thing that I loved, and there's a version of this where I might have felt like I should go. They asked Kamau, does Nate actually want to be a MAGA comedian? Bell said, I'll say this, his accountant doesn't want him to be a MAGA comedian. The concern being that being a MAGA comedian will hurt Nate's bottom line because he's bigger than every MAGA comedian. There's nothing he's going to gain from losing people who are like, I just think that guy's funny. He cuts across race and ethnicity and religion and socioeconomic background and politics. So why would you suddenly put that in a box? I don't know. Maybe you wanted to go see a UFC fight. And Cheryl Hines was like, hey, do you want to take a picture with me and my husband? And you went, yeah, sure. They'll add it. If anything, Nate, this is me trying to help you. Who are the people around you who are supposed to say, don't do that? Whether that's your politics or not, that's not a good business decision for you, Nate. It's not good. It doesn't help your brand in any way. The conversation turned to Tony Hinchcliffe's recent Netflix special. Bell said, I have not watched Tony Hinchcliffe's new special, but I'm not hearing great things. The Daily Beast points out that Tony Hinchcliffe was also at the UFC fight. Was he? I missed that. Okay. Bell said, well, I mean, Tony Hinchcliffe has basically made himself a henchman to Donald Trump's Joker. Why wouldn't he be there? Shane Gillis, when he's not at UFC fights at the White House, sometimes hangs out apparently with Kanye West. A photo has appeared of Kanye West and Shane Gillis hanging backstage after Kanye's Texas concert. We know this because Shane Gillis posted it. All right, I promised you this one from yesterday. I had to bump it. Rainn Wilson, not happy with Ricky Gervais. Before I get into the clip, let me remind everyone, Rainn Wilson, perhaps possibly best known for playing Dwight on The Office, which was a spin-off of the British series called The Office, written and created by Ricky Gervais and Stephen Merchant. So Rainn Wilson might want to remember where his whole career comes from. But anyway, here's Rainn Wilson on the Soul Bloom podcast, Edits for Language.
One of the things that pisses me off to no end is Ricky Gervais saying, just take your actor award. No one wants to hear what you have to say. Guess what? Everyone gets to say what they want to say about anything.
Yeah.
Gaza, climate change, politics, you get to say it. If you're a truck driver, you get to say it.
Yeah.
If you're a school teacher and you're winning an award,
living in this country.
And we have free speech. And, you know, if people don't want to hear it, they don't have to give you an award.
And he's never put any limits on his speech.
No. And like, yeah, is it going to change, you know, war or climate change with you saying something for 75 seconds after you win a Golden Globe? Like, no.
Yeah.
But why would you try and shame and silence someone from speaking their truth? I mean, it shouldn't just be for the sake of it. Hopefully what you're saying is well researched, and hopefully you're doing something about that cause that you want to speak to.
Yeah.
And it's not just kind of like, what is it? What do they call that? Mood signaling? No, what's it?
Virtue signaling.
Virtue signaling or something like that. And I think everyone from janitor to actor, you do not need to be an academic. You don't need to have a PhD. You don't need to be a politician or an expert to speak out on what moves you.
Rainn, relax, dude. Brian Baumgartner shared a story. Apparently this anecdote's been around for 5 years or so, but I had missed it. Some people wondered in the Office US finale how Kevin wound up with a bar. Brian said, I can't go in a bar and not be offered a drink. They want to have a drink with Kevin Malone. So the storyline is shot but not aired that Kevin Malone goes into bars. Everyone wants to buy him a drink. There's a particular bar in Scranton, Pennsylvania that he goes in all the time, and he's accumulated such a credit at the bar from people buying him drinks that he uses that as leverage to own the bar. That is a true written story that was shot. Now, coming out next week is The Office US complete series Superfan Extended Episodes with 25 plus hours of unaired footage. Now, I'm not going to buy the whole series on DVD again, but this all-new collection reconstructs every installment of the landmark series with additional footage per episode, delivering more than 25 hours of unaired asterisk material. The asterisk is during initial TV broadcast run, so some of these things have been around. Runtime 100 hours and 20 minutes. The Office, the complete series, Superfan Extended Episodes, available on digital and Blu-ray July 14th. Looking ahead to the weekend, I think I'm going to make this weekend's Saturday deep dive about The Office UK, being that it's the anniversary today. Happy anniversary, everybody. Josh Johnson told Deadline that unlike his YouTube sets, he intends his specials to be timeless. He says, the intention that I have with everything I do is like, most people don't feel as great as they are. Walking around, a lot of people don't feel in sync with their life and personally don't feel like their own melody. Sometimes there's just this noise in your head and there's this external disruption that's going on all the time, whether it's negative news or negative opinions and stuff like that. He says that you shouldn't just completely shut out what's happening in the world. It's important to be part of the world you're in, but if you're in the world, you must be worth the world. And I don't think people walk around with that feeling. So if I could be a part of changing that, that means a lot to me. Vice tells us that wedding officiator Adam Sandler has a running neighborhood prank with Conan O'Brien. We are told that one of Adam Sandler's favorite gags is to yell O'Brien's name out in front of his house whenever he passes by. Whether he's on foot, riding a bike, or driving through the neighborhood, according to Conan, there was a time when a celebrity bus tour happened to catch wedding officiator Adam Sandler in the act. It's become such a common occurrence that Sandler's kids expect him to do it every time they're in the area. The Emmy nominations came out on Wednesday. Hacks landed 24 nominations, beating the record of 23 previously held by The Studio and The Bear. It has also surpassed Schitt's Creek for most nominations for a comedy series. Now, Hacks is nice and all, but relax, it is not the greatest thing ever. It's good. Hacks got nominations for Best Comedy Series, Best Actress for Jean Smart, Best Supporting Actress for Hannah Einbinder and Megan Statler, and Best Supporting Actor for Paul W. Downs. This brings Hacks' lifetime Emmy total to 86 nominations and 12 wins. Meanwhile, The Late Show with Stephen Colbert got 9 Emmy nominations. That was the biggest award showing of Colbert's 11-year tenure behind the desk. Before this year, the most he ever got was 5 nominations, 3 years in a row, 2020, 2021, and 2022. The Late Show was up for a variety series, writing for a variety series, directing for a variety series, production design for a variety series, technical direction and camera work, lighting design, sound mixing for a variety series, picture editing for variety programming, and music direction. Late Nighter reminds us this year is the first time in over a decade that shows across the late night field will compete in the recombined Outstanding Variety Series category, which merges what had previously been Variety Talk Series and a separate Scripted Variety Series category. Also, the rules this year are weird and stupid. Rather than selecting a single winner, voters will consider each nominated series on a yes or no basis, with any show receiving yes votes from 90% or more of eligible voters winning an Emmy. That means the category could produce more than one winner, which, of course, is stupid. If no nominee gets 90%, the Emmy will go to the series with the highest percentage of yes votes. The nominees for Outstanding Variety Series are The Late Show with Stephen Colbert, The Daily Show, Jimmy Kimmel Live, Last Week Tonight with John Oliver, and Saturday Night Live. Good shot that they all win, which is stupid. Let's give it a Colbert just to stick it to CBS. The nominees for Best Comedy Series are Abbott Elementary, The Bear, which of course is not a comedy, Hacks, Margot's Got Money Troubles, which apparently is a show on Apple TV, Nobody Wants This from Netflix, Only Murders in the Building, Shrinking, and Widow's Bay from Apple TV, which I hear is very good. I haven't gotten to it yet. I've been watching soccer every day of my life except yesterday, but I had volleyball. Lead actor in a comedy series, Yahya Abdul-Mateen II for Wonder Man, Steve Carell for Rooster, Matthew Rhys for Widow's Bay, Jason Segel for Shrinking, Martin Short for Only Murders. Lead actress in a comedy series, the nominations are Quinta Brunson for Abbott, Ayu Edebiri for The Bear, which of course is not a comedy, and Ellie Fanning for Margot's Got Money Troubles, Lisa Kudrow for The Comeback, and Jean Smart for Hacks. Outstanding Supporting Actor in a Comedy Series, Coleman Domingo for The Four Seasons, Paul W. Downs for Hacks, Harrison Ford for Shrinking. We got to do that. That's just fun. Nick Offerman for Margot's Got Money Troubles, Stephen Root for Widow's Bay, Michael Urie for Shrinking, Taylor James Williams for Abbott Elementary. The nominees for Outstanding Supporting Actress in a Comedy Series are Dale Dickey for Widow's Bay, Hannah Einbinder for Hacks, Janelle James for Abbott, Kate O'Flynn for Widow's Bay, Michelle Pfeiffer for Margot's Got Money Troubles, Megan Statler for Hacks, and Jessica Williams for Shrinking. And Outstanding Animated Program. The nominees are Star Wars Visions, South Park, Smiling Friends, Simpsons, and Bob's Burgers, continuing the great Hoax. I hope Bob's Burgers win. And then everyone in on the Hoax will be like, I can't believe they fell for this. Let me ask you 2 questions. Have you ever seen Bob's Burgers? The answer is no. And more importantly, have you ever met anyone who has seen Bob's Burgers? The answer is also no. Think about that sometimes. While we're all fawning over Stephen Colbert, Late Nighter tells us we now have a full month of Live plus 7 ratings data for Byron Allen's 2-hour CBS late night block. How's it doing? Late Nighter summarizes, he's a distant third, but the floor is holding. Byron Allen's hour is averaging just under 700,000 viewers, about a quarter of Jimmy Kimmel's 2.7 and half the Tonight Show's 1.4. Now, this is interesting. Late Nighter says every other program in late night sheds audiences on Fridays. Kimmel drops 29%. Seth drops 22%. The Tonight Show slips 7%. Byron Allen goes up 11%. Now, if we look at the 18 to 49s, Byron Allen's hour averages 78,000 viewers in a nation of 300 million plus. 78,000. Yikes. Nightline, which doesn't even start till 12:35, has double that. Even Seth Meyers beats that number. I mean, come on. Late Nighter says, nobody records this show. 96% of the block's total weekly audiences watches live or same day, meaning it's the least time-shifted programming in late night. Kimmel's audience adds 17% to his audience over a week of delayed viewing. The Daily Show more than doubles. And Late Nighter points out that the Knicks championship run was in here, and that helped Kimmel's numbers a little bit, but gives us a pretty good sense of where things are in late night. And that is your comedy news for today. I will see you tomorrow.